Okay.
Part 2. So we mentioned that kuf lamed dalet means open with a key. But one of the words that we talked about last week, mem petov kuf, or mem petov het, excuse me, basically means a mem is the time or a tool or one who, that which, and petov het means to open. Open what? That word is used quite a bit. Mem petov het is the tool that opens, so it's a key, K-E-Y. It's also an index. So the Erectology chart is an index, is an opening tool. Erectology, the study itself, is an opening tool. Ayin Dalet Ayin Tav is the key that Gabriel gave to Daniel, that if you just think it means until the time, you can't use the key. It's like pulling Excalibur, the sword, out of the stone. And we talked about before that the word Excalibur it means voracious eater as a sword, as a weapon, but it also can mean that the true meaning of the words has been locked up in witchcraft, locked up in occult mystery, and disregarded by anybody who wanted to do anything sacred. But the truth of the matter is that here it is. The point is, mem petov het means to open with a key, an index. It's the registration order sequence value, meaning that's what all this is. Petov het, if you look in the dictionary, means to regain sight. To regain sight of what? Yes, physically your eyeballs, but it's also the terms of the covenant. In other words, we were told there is no law. The law was nailed to the cross. The law is done away with. There is no covenant with Israel. Israel has been abandoned, rejected, divorced. Anybody who wants to be a damn Jew is going to burn in hell. So you better become a Christian. That's what we've been taught for 2,000 years. That's the terms of the curse. Your overlords will lie to you. To realize that when Yahuwah said, oh, here's the way it works. I'm going to give you the truth, and because you guys are stiff-necked, hard-hearted, and don't care about my stuff, but really want the stuff of your neighbors, the Assyrians and Egyptians, I'm going to bring in the Assyrians and Egyptians, and they will rule over you. Not just those two nations, but their cultural ideologies. And even today, 3,000 years later, we have vestiges of Egyptology and the Babylonian Mystery Babylon running our government and our church and our culture. Crazy train headed to the pit of doom, out of control. And the only way back is to realize, oh, the terms of the covenant were our forefathers are going to reject, get cursed, get sent into the dispersion. But then after the certain amount of time, 2010, we're allowed to come back. And if this present generation chooses with all its heart and all its soul to listen to Yahuwah's voice, he will restore his favor. He will turn the blessing instead of his nose of wrath, and he's going to pour out his wrath on our enemies as we walk in his ways. That's the heart, the essence of the entire covenant, which is also the whole alphabet. And when you look at center and you say, what's there a pig doing there? Well, that's not the Aleph necessarily. It's the letter Gimel that goes back and forth like a boomerang. In fact, the word chazira is the word for swine or pig, and that's what it means. But if you look in the dictionary, the word chazir also means one who returns. Well, that's the prodigal son story. That's Jeremiah 31. That's the house of Ephraim. And so it's all gauged on the curse put on the house of Ephraim, who's going to come back, but who can't come back till at least 2010. That's the driving mechanism. But if that's like a Gimel, where's Aleph and where's Bet? Well, what is Aleph and Bet and Gimel? If Aleph is this great plan, Aleph before a word basically is I am, I will. This is my identity and intention. Okay. What's Bet? Well, you go back to Daniel 12 and you'll see an essence of Bet, but Bereshit starts with the letter Bet. That's the universe. That's the cosmos. The word that the Almighty made. Well, the Almighty, does he have a voice? Does he have a body? Does he have a face? He said, you saw no image. You heard a voice. I gave you my words. So the tangible aspect manifest of the Almighty is bet put into the object of a word. The Aleph is a silent letter. So you have to understand the language in order to understand the map. But the map is a key to understand the language, just like Daniel 12. So think about it. If the silent, well, if the Aleph is silent and bet is the first letter with a sound and it's B, our letter B, sometimes pronounced also as a V, either way, the point is, if that means in, with, among, through, against, in the condition of, here's this space. So let's say it's the universe, the cosmos of space and time. That's the bet. That's our body. That's to be of substance, materialized. What's the Aleph? Who built this place? Invisible, silent. So the Bible, the scriptures speak about the heavens declare the glory of Elohim. The heavens declare his glory, but why doesn't he speak? He did. He gave us his word. He said something by building the universe. The word takon. He's whoever he, is it a he, is it a she, is it an it, whatever it is, it manifests the fact that the stars are arranged, the alphabet's arranged, the 7 days of creation in sequence order is arranged, planned, designed. Well, that's the word takon. We just talked about that. And if you understand who Yeshua claimed to be, what he did, and what the covenant is that Moshe received and wrote down for us, and you see the correlation, that's Ayin Dalet, Ayin Tav. And when the time comes, then we can put those two together. It is the time of releasing the words that Daniel hid and sealed, and it all fits. It all fits like this incredible key, Mem Pei Tav Het, which opens the puzzle, which means here we are, which means this is the time of Ayin Dalet, Ayin Tav. Kuf Zadi, the time of the end, the time of the awakening. Kuf Zadi, Yod Kuf Zadi means to wake up. Well, that's Ephraim waking up and coming to his senses. That's the prodigal son waking up and coming back to his father's house to eat the food at his table. And Yeshua said, my food is to hear and do the will of my Father. That's the food on the table. The terms of the covenant, to understand our Father's heart, to listen to his voice and choose to proactively, with personal intent, to walk in his ways, and then discuss those ways as we try to figure out the calendar and the protocols of how to keep the Sabbath day and such things. If I'm starting it there and calling that, well, that looks like a Gimel concept, what's Aleph? Well, Aleph speaks of silent but proactive intent. Which picture is that? So this is what you'd have to do. You'd have to identify each one of these pictures. It doesn't matter where you start. Start there, there, there. And so that's what I did. I wrote a list as if I was starting up here, and that's here. I'm just identifying what each letter is, and then you have to understand each one of these words that are written as clues. And I've done that for you here. But then you also have to start down here and say, what is an Aleph? So here on page 2, Aleph, plan, purpose, ox head, yoke, team, objective. Bet, make tangible, cosmos, matter, solid, house of wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Gimel, dynamic, two-phase, revolving, get back and forth, give, take. Nexus between Aleph and Bet. So Gimel actually describes, I've mentioned this before, interesting way to see the alphabet. The third letter describes the relationship between the previous two. So Aleph and Bet are two things. Bet is in reference very specifically to Aleph. If Aleph is alone and all of a sudden there's an other, it's not just two, it's more than that. It's completely changed from Aleph to Bet. Then you can say, well, what's the relationship between Aleph and Bet? That's described by Gimel. But then I can say, well, what's the relationship between Bet and Gimel? Well, that's described by Dalet. What about Gimel and Dalet? Well, that's described by Hey. Whole other way to analyze the alphabet. The point is, I can go through Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, and then I drew some lines. Hey, Vav, Zion. I'm looking at it as if you had 4, and then 3, and then 3, and then 3, and then 3, and then 3. And why? Because the menorah had 4 cups in the middle and 3 cups. I think that was designed, you see them as just one flame on each of 7 branches, but it describes cups or bowls, which I think were probably filled with oil with a wick. I'm thinking, I've never seen somebody making a menorah like that, but this menorah here, not turned on right now, but There's 3 lights in each of the 6 branches and 4 lights in the middle. So there's a certain pattern of the menorah here. So if you start on the side, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Vav, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Vav, Zayin, Het, Tet, then the middle would be Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem. That's one way to do it. But what if you start in the middle? Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Vav, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yod. What if? It's just a matter of, so then if you look at that and spell a word, that's what I've done here. That's what these words mean. It's all just study. That's a place to start. You have to first identify the name or the meaning of each picture. Then identify the meaning of each picture translated with the clue words, correlate the keywords to the pictures. Then look at the meanings of the letters. So pages 3, 4, 5, and 6, I've just sketched out each one of the pictures and drawn what they are. You'll have to look at that. You get to page, bottom of page 6 here. This right here says, Hodu la Yahuwah ki tov, ki leolam chazdo, from Psalms 136. Give thanks, praise, and confession, glory resounding unto Yahuwah. Then, if you don't have that attitude, don't even try to do this, because key, as we said last week, is this lever, this fulcrum. You have to take on an attitude, and then something will open up. Tov. Chazdo. It's like Indiana Jones, the movie. You know, they're sitting there treasure hunting, and I remember this one scene vaguely where he says, it says here, part of the clue to getting into the treasure room was the penitent man will save his head, or something like that. The penitent man, penitent. What does that mean? Well, to be penitent means to be like a monk, and to be repentant, penitent. Oh, it means you're humble. You get down on your knees. So he got down on his knees, and all of a sudden this big blade, whoosh, comes swinging out of the wall. It would have lopped his head off. The clue was you have to do this in order to save your head so you get onto the next step. And the whole movie was like that. That's kind of the way this map is built, just so you know. That you have to have a certain attitude, or else don't even waste your time. The thing written over here, Yod, Dalet, Ayin, Vav, Aleph, Vav, Tav, Yod. He knows me. What does it mean to know? Yahweh said that at one point about Abraham, and he also said it in Jeremiah 31 about they will all know me. Me, spelled Aleph, Vav, Tav, Yod. Well, Aleph, Vav, Tav is a sign, a symbol, an insignia, which is essentially exactly the same as the letter Tav, drawn like an X. It also is translated me, but Aleph, Vav, Tav is a letter of the alphabet, and it also means oath or a symbol of intent. So when you sign your name X, it's a mark that says, my heart is with this. And in Hebrew, to know the meaning of the letters of the alphabet is to yada Yahuwah. It's the way the language is built. I'm not just inventing that and making that up. That's what the language says. The symbolic meaning of the letters of the alphabet is my oath. And Yahweh says he is known because when he says something, it happens. When he gives his word, you could better bank on it, count on it. That's his reputation. Okay. Ayin, Dalet, Ayin, Tav. Nam, Yahweh Zavot. So declares the word of Yahweh Zavot. All the other letters are clue words. Okay, on to page 7. So connect the dots. If you're going to find the Aleph, I'll give you a clue. Here's a bow and arrow. So what? Well, there's a couple different words that mean archer. One is resh bet. What is an archer? Like the word rabbi. It's somebody who says, I'm gonna accomplish a task. There's an animal out there that I want to shoot so I can have dinner. How am I going to do it? I'm going to get a stick. I'm going to tie a string on it. I'll make another arrow, make sure it flies straight, and practice aiming so then I can shoot. Well, that's the shape of the letter Aleph in modern or in Paleo is like the letter A like an arrowhead, like a F-117 airplane. The archer has to determine what, how, why, build the apparatus and make sure it works. That's what it takes to build a bow with arrows. And that letter, a vertical with two top horizontals, which isn't the A shape, but that is a legitimate shape of one of the ancient forms of the letter Aleph, a vertical with two top located horizontals. So encrypted, there's the Aleph. Kuf Shin Tet means to decorate and adorn, but it also means bow, like bow and arrow. Resh Aleph Hey means to make evident. Nephalot is the word wonder, where we get the root of the word paleo, hidden mystery. Well, if that's the Aleph, and there's the letter Tav, the X shape, there's more stuff to that, Segula and treasury. Where's the bet? If that's the Gimel, where's the bet? So you have to think, if the first word that he made, well, that would be the bet, not just the cosmos, but the word, because just like the cosmos is a space environment for life, for the whole universe to live in, the living things of the universe live in the space of the universe, the cosmos. Everything he built lives inside the word. So the word itself, the Hebrew alphabet itself, is the bet. Is this the alphabet down here? It's not one of the pictures, but to understand what the alphabet is, to know him, is to understand what the alphabet is. Well, how do you do? To know is knowledge. To have the knowledge, the understanding, the perspective of what is even going on in this planet. Who are you? Why do you exist? Why are you living now? What time is this? The time to restore his name. What's his name? Knowledge, perspective, reference. Hidden. It's not just hidden, it's encoded. Daniel encoded the 22-letter sequence, the meaning of the letters, by chapter 12, though it looks like he's telling a story, which he is. Did he really see one on this side of the river and that side? Probably. Did Daniel mean to hide this story in Daniel 12 of the meanings of the letters? I don't know. I can't prove it. But I can see that it's the meaning of the letters written in a story form. But did Daniel even know that he was doing that? I don't know. But I can see that he did. Was he given this play, this drama that he wrote down, not knowing why he wrote it down? Possibly. Encoded knowledge. Hey, the word zephyr, Zadi Pei Resh Dalet Ayin, Zepharda, is the word frog. Zephyr is a little bird chirping in the morning, or a cricket, or a frog. It's a voice which to us is unintelligible, but the word Dalet Ayin is knowledge. So here's chirping knowledge, or encoded knowledge. The word tadpole is Rashan, Resh Aleph Shin Nun, which means big head, which means great beginning. It's also the word for tadpole. And Yahweh says when he restores his favor, he's going to pour out on that generation of people a greater life than even they had at the beginning. In another place, it'll be said, it'll be like at the beginning. He says it a number of times. And so what you realize is that the big plan is to restore this great beginning like it was at the beginning, when he brings us back at the time we repent and come back to his words. Listen to his voice. Shema Kolo. And how's that going to happen? Go back to Jeremiah 31. What did Ephraim say? Once I became aware, I repented, I regretted my rebellion. And then he calls out, bring me back and I will come back. Bring me back. Come get me, please. Come get me. And then Yahweh says, what? Is Ephraim such a delightful child, or my favorite son, that whenever I think of him, my heart grows fonder and fonder? Who's he going to send? Who's Yahuwah going to send to go get his wayward children? There was a volunteer. There was a volunteer in the heavens whatever that looks like, whatever that means, however your imagination wants to spin that, there was a volunteer who says, I'll go bring him back. So what did he do? He had to abandon his heavenly position, whatever that was, to drop down into the snake pit, as it were, the place where he knew he would be vilified, scorned, mocked, sneered, derided, called a scumbag, killed. But the action of him lowering himself down, turning his back on his privilege and his esteem to provide a vessel, a door, for us to be lifted up out of our doom. Well, gosh, it looks just like a bucket. In fact, if you look at Dalet Lamed Lamed, Dalet Lamed Tav, and Dalet Lamed Hey in the dictionary, you'll see that it's a bucket lowered down into the bottom of the well to bring water up, to draw water up. Yeshua claimed to be the Dalet, the door. What door? Well, a bucket of water lowered down to the bottom of a deep well is a type of door. It's a door for you to get access to the drinking water. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. Mauzi. He told us, I think it's in Isaiah 27, said, I told you, I gave you everything you needed if you just listened to my voice, but you wouldn't. You didn't want to have it. You wouldn't listen to my voice. Isaiah 27:5. If you would have just grabbed a hold of what I handed you, everything I said would have happened. Now, if you read that verse in English, it doesn't say that. It says, peace he would make with me. My peace he would make with what? The word peace is not just, the word shalom is not just peace. It's everything happening as it was supposed to. Welfare, benefit, prosperity, health. With me, Lamed Yod, but also means my. And so you have to know how to read the words in Hebrew. Isaiah 27:5. Why is there a pair of binoculars by the moose? What's the moose? Mauzi. If, Aleph Mem, if we will see what he said, read what he said, do what he said, take a hold, rejoicing, everything would happen, because it's a secret formula, a secret weapon, a tool which works, even though it's been held in abeyance for nearly 3,000 years, at least since the days of Daniel, 2,740 now. But the reason Daniel hid it, because they were taken into captivity because they had already gone nuts a couple hundred years before that. Been nearly 3,000 years. And this stuff is still just as viable and active as it was the day that Yahuwah imagined it, invented it, arranged it, takon. Each one of these pictures, I'm not going to go through them all because we're going to be running out of time. We're already halfway through. If we get to page 8, excuse me, let's go to page 7. As I was starting to analyze this, I realized, the way to really lock on to what these clues are is to look at the back of the card with the alphabet song, Aleph-Bet song. Aleph is the plan that Abba purposed in his heart, like the archer. Bet is the container of all he would impart. His encrypted word, the Aleph-Bet. Zafar Da. Gimel is the sent one to retrieve his home again. He sent him. Yeshua is the one who goes back and forth from heaven to earth to enter through the door, the Dalet. Hey, look! He's the Vav, man! The one nailed. Cut off. Perfect yet. Why'd they kill him? He was perfect. Couldn't handle it. The Zion one of 7th, one put to the weapon. Selah, stop and think about it. Tet is for our safekeeping. There's a locked fence. Sealed by Tet, like a wedding ring. Sealed, something put in a safe. Something until the time of the crushing of the hands of the Kadosh people is accomplished. If that's the time of now, then we don't have to read Daniel 12 and say, oh no, he's going to be crushing our hands. No, this is the end of the time of the crushing of the hands. It's the time where he's restoring his yod, his power. You got to dig and search. Hey, there's an excavator. Imagine that. Yod is hand who formed my hand to hold onto his cough. The powerful creator's hand created our hand to interlace. And the word for interlacing, like the word sukkah, is listening. Hand in hand is a metaphor for mouth to ear, words to eyeballs. So that from mem is a lagoon, a deep pool of words, a place of a womb of meditating, of pondering, of navigating. So as we halakha, the derek, as we walk the walk, as we dabar hashafah, speak the word, as we look to his ways are not just theory, knowledge, it's practical doing. You have to walk it out. The boot, lakash chafatzi, seek my desire. Halakha haderek, walk the walk. How? Where's the path? Where is the derek? It starts in your heart, memming the water. So that a blessed noon restart. Well, what's a blessed noon? Do you feel kind of lazy? Do you feel kind of lethargic? Do you need a sting? Do you need a provocation? Do you need more coffee? Wake up. You need to be enthused about Yahweh's stuff because we have 3,000 years of lethargy to get out of the dust of our eyes. Ephraim said, bring me back and I'll come back. Would you kick me in the butt, please? Thank you, Yahweh. That's what Ephraim was asking for. Is there a stinger, a goad of a scorpion? Samik ayin pei. The three drawn in a circle, in a triangle, as if they were this circular action like the Mazda rotary engine. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with your Elohim. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with your Elohim. Micah 6:8. Those three work together. Shema, Shomer, and yet together one. All the 12 tribes collectively collaborating. And there's numerous, like I said, this whole thing should be a book. There's this numerous scriptures regarding that. Zadi stands alone. Zadi, Samik ayin pei. Do what he said. Balance the scales. Pei is an open mouth that will just make the whole thing happen. Zadi is a resurrection. Yeshua coming out of the grave, a butterfly out of the cocoon. Kuf, after. You look at the words for pei tet resh yod hey, it's the word for fungus or mushroom, but it also means something else. Look it up in the dictionary. Resh are noble, exalted, in the sky, reaching the pinnacle. Achieving the purpose is for us to become resh men, behaving the way he had always hoped we'd behave, in which case Yahweh's chafatz is to say, I have this dream that they will be my people and I will be their Elohim. And when they start acting like resh men, man, the world's going to see something that it hasn't seen yet. And that's what we're going to get to in just a moment, where we get into Jeremiah 23, when he says, the world will just quiver and shake and be astounded at the good things I do for my people. Hasn't happened yet, because we've got to do this first. Sheen, our shining Elyon, Yahuwah, El Shaddai, the Almighty El Shaddai, the omnipotent, the provider, the destroyer of all opposition. I've heard it said numerous times based on a New Testament verse that the devil is the ruler of this world. But yet David said, Psalms 24, the earth is unto Elohim, and the fullness thereof, the world and they who dwell therein. Why? Because he is Kanashamayim Vayoretz. He is the one who has founded it upon the seas, established it upon the floods. Ain't no room for the world being owned by the devil. I don't believe that's true. Oh, but that's New Testament. No, that's the way the New Testament was translated and handed to us to keep us away from Psalms 24. Psalms 24 is, I think, like the first chapter I ever memorized when I was in 4th grade at the LA Baptist grade school, elementary school. Why did I learn Psalm 24? Did everybody? I don't know, but that has stuck with me my whole life. The earth, King James English, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they who dwell therein. The earth is owned by Yahuwah, Zavot, the Elohim of Israel. And you either want to be his people or you don't. And when he says, speak to the children of Israel and tell them, back in Exodus 12, talking about the regard of Passover and unleavened bread, I read it to my friend the other day. They said, oh, Passover, huh? Yeah, you're supposed to read the story. Yeah, why don't you read the story? Yeah, we just don't have the time or the interest, but go ahead and read it to us. I said, Yahweh spoke to Israel. Whoa, hey, what are you talking about? I ain't no Jew. Well, we may as well stop right here. If you have no interest of being his people, this isn't for you. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your ear. The story's over. If you don't want to be his people, if this isn't about you, it's not about you. When Yahuwah said in Exodus 20, the 10 Commandmets, the first commandment is, I am Yahweh your Elohim who took you out of the land of Egypt. That's not a commandment because the word dabar doesn't mean command. The word chok, het kuf means command. The word dabar means matter or thing. So there's 10 things, 10 matters. And the word 10 is ayin shin resh, which also means to make wealthy or enrich. So the first matter of enrichment is to know that he said, Anoki Yahweh Eloheka, I am Yahweh your Elohim. I'm the guy that took you out of Egypt. Well, I got nothing to do with that. Well, then he's not your Elohim. Then these matters of enrichment have nothing to do with you. Ignore them. Go about your way. The Aleph Tav, the target, hit, accomplished and completed, just like he said. Nam Yahweh. He said it, boom, Aleph hits Tav. There's a quick run through in the map. Menorah has something to do if you follow dot by dot. Okay, here's the, that runs through, again, another rendering, page 7 and 8. So I think I go through the alphabetic sequence 3 times here, giving essence. And then page 9, again, if Aleph is 1, no conflict. Achad, Aleph chet dalet, Yod chet dalet. Chet dalet means thin, sharp, pointed, uni, mono. The word Chadesh, as in month, Rosh Chadesh. Chet dalet means thin, kind of like the sliver of the moon. Dalet shin is the word for a blade of grass, like a tender blade of grass, thin slice. Is Chadesh mean the sliver of the moon? But is that the same as Rosh Chodesh? Is Rosh Chodesh the full moon? Is that the beginning of the month or the middle of the month? More conflict. That means other. A, B, C, D, E, F. I'll go through the English letters equivalent. That's page 9. And then run through the 22 letters again in the Hebrew with a different aspect rendering, page 10. Now, here, let's get to page 11. Jeremiah 33, verse 1. Yehidabar Yahweh al Yirmiyahu Shanit Hua Adnu Atzor Be Chazar Ha Metara La Amer. It's translated, so the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah a second time. Exist Dabar Yahweh, the matters of Yahweh, not just word, but the matters, toward Jeremiah, but Aleph Lamed, such that Yoram, Yod Resh Mem, well, Yod Resh Mem Aleph means show a contradiction, a voice between a voice of different rulers. Resh Mem, where we get the word Ram or Rome or Romulan, it doesn't just mean exalted and lifted up. But if you look in the dictionary, Resh Mem Aleph means to show a contradiction between the voice of rulers, exalted ones. What has that got to do with Jeremiah? Shin Nun Yod Tav means second time, different variant as teeth. opposing like a football scrimmage line. Disguised, scarlet, hateful. All that is word shana. And it, the same, ayin vav dalet nun vav. Well, ayin dalet nun is where we get the word Eden, pleasant and delightful, like the Garden of Eden. Ayin vav dalet, why, that means stumble or tottering. But ayin vav dalet is also witness and testimony. And it has to do with the word until, the progression in time. Nun vav is the suffix meaning hours. But ayin vav dalet also means encouragement. So it's a warning, it's encouragement, it's a time of stumbling and the testimony of a certain time. This seems to be saying
Eric, Carla just muted you.
there's two different voices in Yahweh's words, like two different rulers, two different voices to listen to, and they're at odds, which is a cause of stumbling, which is also a cause of encouragement. That's why there's so much conflict about this. And then it says at otzar, which is like the word shemini atzeret, but this means stop, prevent, constraint. Again, the word for ruler, or one who imposes a prison sentence on you, forbidden, imprisoned, sterile, bet het zadi resh. Bet means in the condition or when of het zadi resh. Well, het zadi resh is a courtier, janitor, a hamlet, a courtyard, a place of grass. But it also means blow the trumpet. There's a time of stumbling, and it'll come to when the trumpet is blown. Huh? What effect does it have for somebody to blow the trumpet, the shofar? Hey, mem tet resh hey. Well, mem tet hey, that's the word rain, meter, like rain coming down. But it also means a poetical rhythm. Mem tet resh hey also means target, warden, guard, aim, and purpose. Lamed, Aleph, Mem, Resh, as declared. All of a sudden, there'll come a time when you realize the message in the alphabet has been imprisoned and hidden. And when you listen to the voice of the shofar, the aim and the purpose will be found to be in the declaration. That voice of authority that was told, do not listen to the law anymore. Do not listen to Yahweh's commands. They've been done away with by the one who represented his commands. What? Why is there a conflict between Yahuwah and Yeshua? Why is there a disagreement of godship between the God of the Old Testament and Jesus Christ, the God of the New Testament? Well, it seems to be written right here that it's a different variant as teeth and a Yod Resh Mem, a Jeremiah, showing a contradiction of authority voice. According to what was spoken, La Amer, the last verse of verse 1. Well, how's anybody supposed to resolve this apparent conflict built into the language? Verse 2, Ka Amer Yahuwah, so declares Yahuwah. Ayin Shin Hey, maker, cause, produce, Yahuwah. Yod Vav Zadi Resh, creativity, form, illustrate, shape, confine. Yod Zadi Resh, manufacture, imagination, purpose, instinct, producer. Yahuwah himself, who is the producer and the maker of what was declared as true fact. Nam Yahweh. Ka'amer Yahuwah. Dabar Yahuwah. The next word is Aleph Vav Tav Hey. Aleph Vav Tav Yod means me. Aleph Vav Tav Hey means what the letters mean to say as symbolic insignia of the very personal oath of Yahuwah. Imagine that. Lamed Hey Kaf Yod Nun. Hey, there's the word like takon. This is Lamed Hey Kaf Yod Nun. Hey, can, yes, Kaf Nun. Kaf Hey is also yes, so truly thus. Kaf, Yod, Nun, Hey. Yes, regulate, tune, cannon, fixed, mounted, guided, aimed, prepared, made ready. He designed and built the whole thing very specifically, like the stars in the heaven. The alphabetic sequence. Everything exactly fixed, calculated, an ingenious device. Het Shin Bet. Yahweh Shemo. Yahweh, his name. And then you look at the sequence of this last phrase. Yahuwah built Yahweh and formed, illustrated. So he built and illustrated Aleph, Vav, Tav, Hey. That's the principal subject, so that it was regulated to declare the name of Yahuwah. The name of Yahuwah is so important. It is the thing that's expressed in the Aleph, Vav, Tav. The insignia, the meaning of the symbolic shape, the thematic logogram of every letter, its purpose and intent is to declare and fix, establish unmovable the Shem of Yahuwah, his name, fame, renown, reputation, the occupation of all his concerns. You see, the purpose, the design of the alphabet, the purpose of the discrepancy in voices of authority is all for this occasion of realizing that when he said it, that's the reality. And what did he say? He spoke the Hebrew words based on Hebrew letters that he arranged and orchestrated like the stars in the sky, and it all declares the grandeur of Yod He Vav He. And for such a time as this now is why all this is happening, and you could look at all through the last 3,000 years of human history and the setup before that of what he said to Moshe approximately 1600 BC, so that's 3,600 years ago. And the things he said to Abraham. Then you get to verse 3. Kara Ali, Kufresh Aleph. Hey, there's that word that means called, summoned, invited, presented with the invitation to learn how to read the scripture. Aleph Lamed Yod, to me, he called to me. Vav Aleph, so I will proactively, Ayin Nun Kaf. Ayin Nun is that word like Ayin Nun Hey, like to fast. That's the way it's translated in Isaiah 58, but it means to make it your occupation, to respond, to humble yourself, to burden yourself with the occupation of listening and responding and singing. Yes, you can have melody, but singing is also this feeling, this attitude. Teach me to read, and I will answer you. That's what the first three words are saying. That's the cry of Ephraim, bring me back. How? Teach me to read, and I will respond. I will Gida. Aleph, Gimel, Yod, Dalet, Hey. Haggadah is to tell, explain, express, expound, narrate, tell the story, which is exactly what this is, which is exactly what these videos are that we're doing. To you, Laka, of you, about you. Gedolot, Gedal, great, beautiful, marvelous, grandeur, majestic, festooned, ribboned, braided. And Bet Zadi Resh Vav Tav, with rocks, enclosed, cut off, taken away, drought, scarcity, that's Betzar, stronghold, fortified, inaccessible, to gather grapes. I'm going to tell the story that you had off limits since the days of Daniel 12. Yahweh put the meanings of his words in an, like the sword Excalibur stuck in the stone that nobody could pull out. Yet here it is. Lo Yidatam, not known. Nobody could know this. Why would he open it up now? It's the end of the 2,730-year curse. Yes, but Ayin Dalet, Ayin Tov. Yes, but bring me back and I will come back. The cry of Ephraim. It's also been the cry of Yehudah to bring Ephraim home. So we don't know that. They know that. They know what we're talking about. Verse 4. Ki ka amer. For so declares Yahweh Elohi Israel. Al Betty, Bet Tav Yod, like the lady's name Betty, means my daughter, but it's also the village under the protection of a city. a chick under the wings. Yeshua said, oh, Jerusalem, I would have taken you under my wings like a hen its chicks. But no, you wouldn't have it. Okay, you'll have what you want. You'll be destroyed by your overlord adversaries until the time you come back. So here you go, al beti ha'ir. Yoked with, ayin lamed, my daughter's determination, her feelings, her heart, the city. But the word city, ayin yod resh, which is a derivative word of Eric, ayin resh kaf, means awake, watchful. The this. Does it mean this city? Perhaps, but he means this is the matter. Wake up. Wake yourself up. Ask Yahweh to wake yourself up. If it takes the sting of a scorpion, wake up. Get engaged. This is the time. And upon Beti Meleki, my king, one who walks in my counsel, one who mems the Lamed Kaf. This is verse 4 of Jeremiah 33. Yahuwah, he will express praise. It's not just the word Jew. It's not just Judah. Yod, Hey, Vav, Dalet, Hey. He will express praise, thanksgiving, Hod. Confession of sin. Okay, we were lied to. Okay, we were wrong. Okay, we had a rotten attitude. Okay, we did. Okay, admit it. We rebelled. We transgressed. Okay, but here we are. Now we're coming back. Present tense. Hey, nun tav zadi yod mem ha natitsim. That means pull down, break down. Toward ha samik lamed lamed vav tav. Well, that's lift up or cast up. It also means lead, guide, or pave a way. And toward Aleph lamed the het resh bet. Well, that's sword or drought. He's basically saying here three different ways. Whether things are torn down or built up, or whether there's sword and drought, is based on the attitude of my daughter. Well, what daughter? Daughter of Jerusalem? Daughter of Zion? He referred in Jeremiah, I think, 3 and 4 about Israel and Yehudah being these two girls, like sisters that he was betrothed to. He mixes metaphors of daughter, son, servant, wife. Verse 5. Bet Aleph Yod Mem. Now, I looked at verse 5 in the translation, and they add a bunch of stuff. When the time comes, enter Lamed Hey Nun Chet Mem. Well, Lachen is bread, but it's also battle or war. But Hey Lamed Chet, you look at that, and it's a musical composition. There was a movie called Ran, R-A-N. It was a samurai time. It was actually King Lear, written by Shakespeare, put in Time of the Samurai by Akira Kurosawa. This is a Japanese, fantastically, it's a war movie, and not you don't need to see it, but he did a fantastic job. Horrible battle scene of a storming of a castle by these other this other army. The only audio was the symphony music. It's like, whoa, what symphony music with a horrible siege of another city? There's something about that that's in this word. Aleph Tav Ha Kasadim. They'll say, well, those are the Chaldeans, the Assyrians, but Kaf means like. Shin Dalet is like Shaddai, which is destruction, and the fullness of Pei Gimel Resh, which is corpse. Inactive, laggard, on vacation, faint, tired, dead animal, retarded. And then the word ha'adam, well, that's the man. So it's translated human corpses. It might mean that, but you could say, wait a minute. You remember, if this world belongs to the devil, then the devil's got big plans. But if the fullness of the world and they who dwell therein belong to Yahuwah, the Elohim, because he made it, and he has everything played out like this orchestrated symphony, even when it comes to slaughter, genocide, war. People don't like to hear that. It's all through the Old Testament. It's in the New Testament. It's in Revelation. And here it is. But see, there's another kind of war. It's not just human corpses. Dementia, autism, repercussions of getting vaxxed, AI, destroying human mind. If we put a pause between that word and ha-adam, then this is another statement. Because see, there's no way to know how this is really read. Ha-adam asher ha-kiti ba-avi ve-ba-chamati ba-asher ha-sitarti panei ma-ha'ir hazat al-kal ratam. This is verse 5, middle of the verse. The man, okay, now, yes, there's coming a symphonically orchestrated carnage. And they're already doing it with the stuff they're injecting inside of people and the destruction of the mind. Check out MK Ultra. You know, CIA was doing that a few years back. Anyway, the man that, hey, Kaf Yod Tov, because, when, why, Hayaka. I know a lady named Hayaka. Hey, Yod Kaf, how? The one who I show how, the one who I allow to see how and why. Well, that's what we're talking about. That's what all this is. The man who I will, Tav Yod suffix, allow to have on display, hey, the Kaf Yod, the key. Remember Kaf Yod, which is if, when, why, because, then, although, the circumstances, bet Aleph Pei Yod, of my nose of wrath. Why has Yahweh been the big, ugly monster God of the Old Testament for nearly 3,000, 4,000 years? Because we wouldn't listen to his voice and walk in his ways. Didn't care to, didn't like his stuff, would rather have the stuff of the Assyrians and Egyptians, and the Romans and the British and the Americans and the Hollywood. And my great anger, why I will have had nothing but great anger expressed. That's Bet Chet Mem. Chet Mem, furious heat. Then, see, the Vav is not just and. It could be then, when, while, similar to Kaf Yod. Asher, who that? Is it talking about the man? Is it talking about everybody listening to this and contemplating these matters fits the description? The one who sees the reason that Yahweh has been so ticked off all these years, and that he has hidden my face. I have hidden my face, Satar Penei, away from the city, the Ayin Yod Resh, away from anyone who was remotely interested in finding the truth, in being awake to the truth. Sorry, 2,730-year curse. No, ain't going to happen. I said no. That's his attitude. Remember one time my dad said, bring the car back by 10 o'clock. Every minute you're late is the day you can't drive the car. 15 minutes late? Okay, 15 days you can't drive the car. Yeah, but the very important thing to have to, no. I said no. End of story. Don't ask again. No. 2,730-year curse. You can have, yeah, but I really loved him. I really had it in my heart. Sorry, there was a curse imposed on humanity where his face was hidden by his own words. This, and I say that with because Zion Hey means this, Zion Aleph Tav means this. So if you look at the Zion as the weapon that scourged Yeshua, killed him to throw him into the Chet, the tomb, dead, that Aleph Tav, that weapon, that man, Hey Vav Zion, as Pilate said, behold this man that we put to the Roman scourge, the Roman weapon, the crown of thorns. Zion can be a halo, an officer's hat. It all points to Yeshua. This because of all their evil. But yet, if we're talking about the man that he allows to be shown, this all Resh Ayin Tav Mem. Resh Ayin is not just evil, harm, thought, purpose, noise, but Resh Ayin Hey, look at different suffix, means associate, keep company, think, have intention, pasture, tend, grave, aim, and companion. The companionship at the time of this great symphony of carnage, the companionship of those who are led, guided in Yahweh's pasture are the ones that pay attention to why his nose of anger and the benefits of his covenant of chesed with those who listen to his voice and walk in his ways, which I would say is us here, though everybody likes to think it's us, and them is the ones who's going to have big trouble. Verse 6, behold, here I am, ma'ala. I'm the one who lifts you up, lifts her up, Betty, and draws out and prolongs and offers healing or away from healing. I heal, I don't heal. I'm the one. That's what he's saying in verse 6. And I have uncovered for them abundance, fragrant scent, dig open. Hey, like the excavator, put your hand to the task of what did he say and what do you mean? I have opened for them peace and truth. Not just peace, but shalom is welfare, benefit, the full scope, the full banquet. Verse 7, and the Shabbat. What? It also means return, repent, bring back, remain, dwell, captivity. I will return the captivity of Yehuda and the captivity of Israel. 2 houses, though some hate to hear those words, and their children. But Ben Nun Ta Bennett also can mean the understanding. Like as at the first, the big-headed tadpole, Kaf, Bet Resh Aleph, Shin Nun Hey, Bereshit, derivative word, at the beginning. The days of Moshe with the covenant, the days of David, the days of Abraham, the days of Genesis. He said he would return them. Verse 8, we're almost done. It's verse 9 we're driving at. Tav He Resh is clean purification. I'm going to clean and purify them of all their iniquity that they sinned regarding me and forgive all their part and pardon them, Samech Lamed Chet, of every sin that they sinned by turning against me, that they willfully, pasha, stepped over the line because they just didn't care, so they went into criminal offense. He didn't say how or why, but he just said, it's all going to be gone. All that. All the reason for his nose of anger. What's the occasion? Listen to his voice, read his words, understand what he said with your heart memming. Okay, verse 9. Exists for me as a Shem, as a renown, as a name rejoicing unto Tav He Lamed He, praise, glory, fame, song of praise, and as a Pei Aleph Resh, diadem, headdress, crown, turban, adorn, glorify, boasting among all the goyi, not just goyim, but goyi, the arets that hears that the goodness that I am, Anoki, Asha, doing, Aleph Tav Mem. It's not just with them or for them, but according to my Aleph Tav, just like I said. All the people across the face of the earth, when they hear the rumors, the reports of what I am doing for my people, this will be my great reputation clearly on display. And dread, fear, fright, terror, dismay, and quake, tremble, excite, agitate, irritate upon or because of all the goodness and because of all the peace that Anoki Asha Laha, that I am doing for her. This attitude that Yahweh is anxiously looking, waiting, desiring for us to come back and listen so he can do this. So are we fearing the tribulation in front of us? Are we hearing the voice of the World Economic Forum, of the gates of hell, of the masterminds of the COVID? The overlords are trying to kill their own sheep and poison them so they can't even eat them. What the hell are they doing? Doesn't matter what they're doing. Do you know Yahuwah's voice? Are we listening to his voice? The only voice that matters. Patach. The opening of the eyes to hear his voice. that came out of his mouth. Ayin Dalet, Ayin Tov. The story of Yeshua coming out of the grave is Israel coming out of the dispersion, of you coming out of your comatose ignorance, of me seeing. Thank you, Yahuwah. Hodula Yuaki Tov, Ki Leolam Chazdo. His chesed endures forever, including right now. It's not too late. Nothing is too far gone. Go ahead and open up your mics. If you want to say anything, you're welcome. That's the end of that page.
Thanks, Eric.
Eric, you mentioned in Daniel 12 and in the temple, in the abomination set up in the holy place. Is our bodies the temple? Do you think we are the temple?
He said that, Yeshua said that, don't you know that you're the temple? So the thing is about the Hebrew, it's not, well, which one is it? Is it this one or that one? There's mixed metaphors. It's all over the place. It's mixed metaphors. So there's a number of different ways to take it. So certainly ponder it in that regard. There's some merit to be derived from all the different ways of seeing things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's interesting, isn't it? The end bit. If we are the temple, then the abomination of desolation that's set up in the holy place is something that's set up in the holy place. So we were looking at that.
So the physical Ark of the Covenant in the Kadosh Kodashim of the Mishkan is a metaphor, but it's actual a reality. But so then is for Yeshua to say, don't you know that you are the temple, the Hakal, the Mishkan, the place of his dwelling?
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll add that the altar is kind of like the heart, right? So that's where the sacrifice is made, and even talks about in Thessalonians they've put the J-man on their hearts on the altar as exalted over Elohim. This is the abomination that causes desolation, is worshiping something other than Yahuwah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to see this, and that's the benefiting. That's the way of pondering, of meditating. Hey, Gimel, hey, Hagah. Spell words, ponder, contemplate. David did that a lot, and yet I've heard people say that it's a sin to meditate. It's that's Oriental woo-woo. Man, think, man. Let your thoughts, like the ship, with the rudder of the ship, the steering mechanism. Hagahok, contemplate his instructions, his commands. You'll see all kinds of stuff. And then if we can speak to one another as we process without beating each other. My wife, somebody on Facebook this morning, and they're talking about whether it's legal or allowed to drive somewhere on Shabbat. And one guy people just get so rude and mouthy and belligerent. It's like, hey, listen, there's no commandment that says thou shalt not drive. They didn't have cars. Well, they had horses. The horses were supposed to rest, and they had. Listen, we're allowed to think about what's the best thing to do. Is it a good thing to go to congregation? I used to drive almost an hour to get there, but I'll tell you, you pay attention and you're stressed out and you're driving and that guy's cutting you off and you're shaking your fist. Whoa, is that Shabbat leave? He said, stay in your house. Maybe you should just stay in your house and not go to the congregation. What's the rule? Rest. Just
Stop.
Yeah, just have a nice day.
Very good.
Are we not allowed to discuss how to do that and what that means without punching each other in the face? We're allowed to ponder and think and discuss how to do these matters without trying to throw rocks and kill the guy because, hey, you defile the Shabbat, you should be stoned to death. I had a guy telling me that about Friday night, and yet you can't prove Friday night's a legitimate Shabbat. That's another matter, but we could discuss that. But I'm saying When does the day start? That's a whole nother discussion.
I have to wrap this recording up. So, sorry. Does somebody want to?
Is there anybody else that wants to throw something in before we end?
Yeah, just before you go, that lovely rhyme that you gave to remember the pattern, is that available on the website?
This map is, if you go to erictology.net, hit graphics, and it'll come up. I have a second version, which I'll make available. I just put some blue and some green in it, but this
He's
one's
talking
available.
about the itsy bitsy spider song.
Oh, this thing. Go
Yeah.
to a Gmail site, an email site called Erictology Prints.
Right.
Erictology, Prints, erictologyprints@gmail.com, and ask if you could have some of these cards sent to you. It's what they call a rack card, like you'll see at tourist places. You know, it's that size.
Thank you. I'll do it. Erictology Prints.
At gmail.com.
Brilliant.
Yeah, Pete and Diana, the Schlegmeister and his wife will send it to you.
We have the after show coming up, so if we could close out in prayer so I can wrap this up, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Thomas, you're staring at the camera. You want to pray?
I had something to say to comment on his map, but I can wait until the after show.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Why don't you go ahead and close us out in a word of prayer and a Hodu Thanksgiving.
okay. All right. Baruch Hashem, Kadesh Abiyah, blessed be the name of our Holy Father, Yahuwah. We thank you for this day. We thank you for allowing us to gather together. It's truly a blessing to be able to look at your words, your letters, and to be refreshed with deeper meanings. Father, we ask that you guide us along the ways as we move forward to drink from your waters of everlasting life. And we pray for your children scattered abroad, those within your covenant and those that are still lost, that they will bow their ear and listen to your voice. Baruch Hashem Kadesh Abiyah. Amen.
I'm going to call this video Find Your Way Back. Remember that song by Jefferson Starship back in the day? Find Your Way Back?
That's a
There's
good
something-
title. Thank you.
I was literally thinking about that the whole time we were. It's a map. Find your way back to Yahuwah.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
All right, guys. I will see you